Hello. Hopefully I'm live. Gonna give it a minute. I always know that there's a slight delay, so just making sure everything is working. Hi, hello. If you can hear me, if you can see me, let me know in the comments. Happy Friday the 13th. I was gonna say to anyone who celebrates. I don't know. I don't know people's lives. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining me. Spooky celebrations. Yeah, I probably should have maybe like themed somehow, decorated the background, worn a specific outfit. I was originally thinking I would get like a tiny little slice of cake or something since it is in honor of my 10-year. Maybe get like a glass of wine, but then I didn't feel like going to the grocery store after work today. So instead, we will just pretend like I did those things. Hello, hi, hi, hi. People are slowly trickling in. So I always know it takes a couple minutes for people to join in, but I just want to say hi. Thought I'd hang out for a little bit. Um, like the title says, like I'm celebrating my 10 years on YouTube, which is crazy. Take a shot of water to celebrate. Sure. Does this count as a shot? I don't have shot glasses nearby me. I'm not going to leave and get a shot glass. Do I even have shot glasses? I don't think so. But yeah, I uploaded my first video to YouTube, or it went live, I should say, on May 11th, 2012. And so I figured, for my 10-year, I originally had like a bigger thing that I wanted to try to do. I have videos in my head that I wanted to try to accomplish, but I don't read fast enough for them. One of the videos that I want to try to still do is to um, try to reread all of my favorite books from the past 10 years. Um, I don't typically read 10 books in a month though, and like trying to coordinate that, I was like, what if I end up hating some of the books? I was specifically going to go for like only the 5-star reads or only what I thought of as being like the number one book of that year if I could pick one. But I do know that there are a couple of years where I had like 2 5-star reads or 2 like books that were basically my favorites, like a fiction and nonfiction, things like that. Um, so I was like, it might end up being sort of like more than 10 books, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. I'm still like pondering it and trying to figure out how exactly I'll pull this off. I could make it like a summer project. I actually think it would be a fun summer project to sort of go through and reread my books because I'm also really bad at rereading books in general, like almost never do it. Uh, so maybe if I like dedicate like a set time, like this summer, I'm gonna focus on rereading. Maybe I do it. I don't know if that'd be something you're interested in watching or not. Let me know if that would be something that you would enjoy doing. Also, hi to everyone who's joining in, and thank you to everyone who's saying congratulations. I appreciate it. It's wild. It doesn't feel like it's been 10 years. It does feel like I've been here for a while, um, but 10 years is wild when you think about it. If I make it, we will watch. Great. At least a couple of people watch it, that's for sure, and I always appreciate that. I am very, very grateful to anyone and everyone who watches my videos, whether you watch it regularly or, you like to catch up, or even if you've only watched a couple of them, you know, the fact that anyone watches my videos or comments or shares or picks up the books that I um, recommend or anything along those lines is wild to me. So I'm very, very grateful to everyone who spends some of their time watching my videos, because you could be spending that time doing lots of other things. I was going through my analytics because that's what you do when you're a YouTuber, and I was like, oh, let me look at my like lifetime analytics to see sort of what's there. So I'm going to be switching over, and just so it's like wild. So over the course of the lifetime of my channel, I've gotten 2.1 million total views, which I can't even like comprehend what that means. But then I was looking at my watch time, and I was like, it says I have 134,000 hours of watch time. I'm trying to make sure I say that correctly. 134,000 hours of watch time. And I was like, what does that translate to? So I started to put it into Google. I lost. I didn't save the tab. So I'm going to do it again. Hours to days calculator. So 134 thousand comes out to 5,583 days. Craziness, but still can't conceptually understand what that means. So I'm like, what is that in like years? Or yeah, let me say no, let's say years, because I feel like it's going to be uh, years. So hold on one second. I already lost the correct number. 5583. That's 15 and a quarter, or 50, yeah, 15.29 years. That's wild. That's like the total amount of time that people have spent watching my videos. Craziness. Craziness. I know it's nothing compared to like big YouTubers or whatever, but still. When you're just sitting in your bedroom talking at a camera, uh, it's wild. Also, hello to everyone who's joining in. If anyone has questions, by the way, feel free to throw that in the chat, because I will answer them and it'll give me something to talk about. It can be questions about whatever, books or YouTube or music or TV or whatever. I don't know, whatever. Whatever you feel like asking me, feel free to throw it in the chat. What books am I reading right now? Okay, so one of the things I'm doing, spoilers for future videos, I guess, is I'm reading, well, if you follow me on like, I think I posted about this on Instagram. I decided I was going to read the entire Women's Prize shortlist, because I happen to have like, I think two of the books already checked out from the library. I had The Sentence by Louise Erdrich, checked out as an ebook, and then I had the Book of Form and Loneliness, Form and Emptiness. I think it's the Book of Form and Loneliness. Here. Um, that by Ruth Ozeki, the new Ruth Ozeki book I had checked out from the library. And then I knew I could get a copy of The Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead, as an ebook immediately. And then my on Hoopla, the library app Hoopla, they had Sorrow and Bliss as an audiobook available. And so I was like, oh, that's almost the entire short list. So I just put the Elif Shafak book on hold. And my library doesn't have the other one that I always forget the name of, because it's the one that's not popular, or like the least popular, I think, out of the five. So yes, I'm currently working my way through the short list. And so the one I just picked up, the Elif Shafak book, The Island of Missing Trees. I just started this today. And I'm enjoying it so far. I really like Elif Shafak's writing. And this one's super interesting because the story is told, like half of the book is told from the perspective of a fig tree, And so, yeah, I'm definitely really intrigued by this. It's relatively short compared to all the other books, it feels like in this um, short list. But yeah, gonna do a video on that. And then for the Chunky Chapter book club, I have to slide to grab the book. This month we're reading Jade City. I apologize if there's anyone in here who's a part of the Chunky Chapter book club. I'm behind. I haven't made any posts this month. I was going to make one this weekend, but I'm behind and doing a bad job as a book club host, I feel like. So please forgive me. But yeah, Jade City is also on the list right now. Also, hi, thank you to everyone for your kind compliments. I appreciate it so much. What was my favorite book across 10 years? Oh, I don't think I could answer that. That's like asking someone, a parent, who's their favorite child. Um, yeah, because I feel like there's so many books that I've read that I like. I mean, to be a five-star book for me requires a lot. Like I only give one or two five-star ratings. And so those are like the top tier, not just like quality of book wise, but also just like the experience and like the effect it had on me and stuff like that. So like all of these books that are like my favorites, especially the ones that end up getting five stars, like hold a special place in my heart. Like because it's like a very specific right book, right time moment that it's hard to recreate. Which is also a reason why I like that idea of doing a reread of all those books. I'm not sure how it'll go for me because a lot of what makes those books top tier experiences is it feels almost serendipitous that I picked up those books at those times. Not always, but sometimes. And so I don't know if like that will change or if I'll feel the same way or anything like that. So I don't know. Have you seen the Underground Railroad TV adaptation? I have not. I'm terrible at watching TV. I'm gonna completely admit that I don't watch as much TV as I used to. And a lot of times, what I end up watching is uh, like happy things or comforting things. I can read sad books and I can read like dark books and things like that. But with TV shows, I have a tendency to lean towards things that are like funny or like, yeah, just comforting in some sort of way. So I honestly don't think I would watch the Underground Railroad TV adaptation because like just reading the book was so harrowing and I don't think I could handle it, to be completely honest. What is my favorite bookstore in Chicago area? Oh man, I don't know if you're from the Chicago area or not, but um, we have a lot of really good bookstores, like a lot of them. So it's hard for me to pick just one. My go-tos, like Unabridged bookstore, which is in like the Lakeview neighborhood, if that means anything to anyone who's watching. It's probably like the bookstore that like most closely aligns with my taste. So I have can walk in there and easily buy like 20 books because they have pretty good variety in terms of genre and stuff like that. Um, but uh, like it's also like curated really well and like the book store workers also just like their like shelf recommendations stuff like that just really is top tier for me. um What else? I really like, Pilsen Community Books. They're a really good used bookstore. Um, The Dial, or they're not The Dial anymore, I keep saying that. Exile and Bookville is one I always like taking people to because it's in a really cool building too. Yeah, there's like a so many great bookstores in Chicago. What's my favorite book genre? I don't have just one, honestly. The ones that I tend to lean towards, like are like probably like contemporary fiction, historical fiction, literary fiction. I read I used to read a lot of mysteries and thrillers and I kind of went away from it for a little bit. I used to have the Read or Dead podcast that I would co-host for Book Riot. And so for that I had to read mysteries and thrillers and so I think I got a little bit burnt out. So I've been like easing them back into my TBR, but I feel like I read across a lot of different genres. And I the type of person who gets really bored if I read too much of the same thing, so I like to jump around quite a bit. Like in the end of March or the beginning of April, I did like a quarter one wrap up or like over like review, sort of seeing how things are going. And I have stats in there. And if you look at my genres, it's like basically it's all like one or two for every genre, and then everything else there's no like real like standout winners or anything like that. Do I have any YA on my upcoming TBR? Any standalones? I mean, then I would say like 90% of what I read, if not more, are standalone books. Because don't enjoy. I'm really bad at reading series, is what I should say. Like it's hard for me to keep the momentum going, so generally don't read a lot. I have 2 checked out from the library right now. There's probably more on my physical TBR. Oh, there's a couple on okay. I'm back there, that, like, little section over there is my unread books. So I have The Chosen Ones by Echo Brown, which was a follow-up to, Brown Girl Magic? Brown Girl Unlimited? And that was a book I really enjoyed. I think that bro what was the name of the book? Anyways, that book was young adult. I am pretty sure this one is young adult as well. It follows a girl who goes to like when she goes to college. Um, so I have that. I have The Golden State, which is a new release. I have that one checked out from the library. That's a young adult mystery. That was like one of my most anticipated of the year. So hoping to get to that soon. I have a book that was sent to me by the publisher called Debating Darcy, which is a Pride and Prejudice retelling. So I'm excited for that one as well. So those are some of them. If you need me to repeat any of those, let me know. I know I just threw those out there. I could go like get them if you want. Also, hi, hello to everyone joining. Thank you for all the congratulatory wishes. Oh, what are my top 3 series? I'm gonna sit on this one for a second. Okay, first obvious answer: the Dublin Murder Squad series by Tana French. 100% love, love, love that series. Even the ones that like didn't weren't my favorites. Um, absolutely love them. What else? Like I said, I don't read a lot of series, so it's hard for me to say. Oh, the Kendare Blake's books. Um, what's the first book in that series? It's like partially blocked, so I can't even see the Three Dark Crowns series. I loved that fantasy series. It's young adult fantasy, but it's like really slow moving fantasy that I feel like some people didn't like because they're like nothing's happening, and I'm like I love that nothing is happening. Like if you're going to give me a young adult fantasy book, I want it to be one where nothing happens. Cuz those are the ones I always enjoy the most. It's because it like focuses more on like character development and stuff like that. But the Three Dark Crown series follows um it like takes place in a world where every like generation basically um the queen gives birth to a set of triplets, and then the triplets are trained in specific elements, and then they all have to fight each other, and whichever one is left alive ends up becoming the next queen. So it's kind of dark, but it's so well done, and there's just some interesting things that happened. I do think the series went on for a little bit too long, but the first couple of books I really really enjoyed them, and I think Kendra Blake did some really interesting things with it. So those are 2. Dublin Murder Squad, Three Dark Crowns. Um, there's probably others that are hidden in my bookshelves that I can't remember right now. Um, Wendy says that she also loved the Three Dark Crown series. Is not slow paced at all for me. There's like a couple of other like young adult fantasy books um, that gave me um, similar vibes. One was I have to look all these books up because I'm like I should probably look these up before I start talking about them, but give me 1 second to look up. The first one was Thorn by Intisar Kanani, which I've talked about a lot. That one is technically a retelling of the Goose Girl myth, which I'd never heard of before this book. But that one is another sort of slow-paced young adult fantasy book, and it was amazing and beautiful. And I was very disappointed by the second book in the series. So I would, and like the first book works as like a standalone. So I would recommend just reading the first one. And then another one that I really enjoyed, um, I'm like, I can kind of see it. Mirage by Samia Dowd, I think is the author's name. And then the follow up is Court of Lions. That one is also kind of slow paced, but that one also has like a little bit more romance to it. So uh, yeah, I think if you enjoyed Three Dark Crowns, you might enjoy those. What is my favorite book that I've read so far this year? Good question. There's a couple of books that I really, really enjoyed. One of them was the new Anne Patchett essay collection, These Precious Days. Um, just every essay in there I thought was like impeccable. Like Anne Patchett is just a great writer. Let's be clear about that. But it's also a very like timely book. Like I think these are mostly essays that she wrote over the course of like the past 2 to 4 years. But it's just fascinating. Like she's led a completely fascinating life and like has no idea um like all the cool stuff that she's done. Um but also like she talks about like her relationship with her biological dad as well as her stepdad's, her relationship with her husband. The title essay starts in one place and then goes somewhere completely else, and it made me want to cry. I highly, highly, highly recommend that book. That one's probably honestly top contender for favorite book of the year so far. Let's see what else. I'm like looking at my Goodreads because I can't remember all of the books that I've read. Oh, I read Good Talk by Mira Jacob. Yeah, I read that one at the beginning of this year. Easy 5-star read for me. Amazing, amazing, amazing graphic memoir. Yeah, that one will probably be my favorite book of the year, easily. Am I planning any in-person events? No, I don't plan in-person events ever. It's very sweet of you to ask that, but yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what to do. But I will say, reading speaking of favorite books, reading through the Women's Prairie shortlist has been a very nice experience because I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Um, I never do sort of like book prize reading, and I feel like because I feel like you never know what judges' tastes are going to be or anything like that, and sometimes it feels like the short list is all over the place. But this one is really solid so far if you're someone who enjoys the types of books that I enjoy. But they all also have like similar themes, but I'll talk about that. Um, yeah, I'll talk about that in my video that I'm doing. So that's something to look forward to. Thank you for introducing me to Widows of Malabar Hill. I'm so glad. Such a great series. If you aren't aware, Widows of Malabar Hill is the first book in the, I think it's called the Bombay Prince series. It's a historical mystery series, takes place in 1920s Bombay. You are following this young woman named Praveen, who basically becomes the first lawyer in Bombay. And it's such a good mystery series. It's such a good mystery series. It's like my comfort reading. Um, like I want as many of those books as possible. Like part of me wishes uh I could have found it later just so that way I could have like a backlog of books as opposed to now just like waiting for Sujata Masi to write more of them. But it's so good. Where would I recommend to start with Ann Patchett? Okay, I'll just tell you, like, what my favorites from her are. I think, like, where to start kind of depends on just, like, sort of what your interests are. If you enjoy essay collections, um, like I said, These Precious Days is great. Also, This is a Story of a Happy Marriage is another essay collection from her that's also pretty good. I really enjoyed that one too. My favorite from her of all time is The Dutch House, which came out in 2019, and I just completely devoured that book. And also, Tom Hanks narrates it. I never listened to the audiobook of it, but everyone always says it like it's amazing, and, like, Tom Hanks narrates it, so, like, yes, of course, it will be amazing. So I would recommend checking that one out. Um, I think her, like, most popular book is State of Wonder. That one is also really good. It's really, like, character driven, and one of those books where you don't really know where it's going to go. Bel Canto is really, really beautiful. Um, I don't really like Ann Patchett's earlier work. Like, I would say, like, part of me wants you to, like, read Ann Patchett in publication order because I think she gets significantly better with time. So I feel like if you start with her, like, newer stuff and then you jump back, you might be a little bit disappointed, or at least I was disappointed, I should say. Because I genuinely think you can tell like how much Ann Patchett has grown as a writer as you read her books. And so for me, I think my first one from her was Bel Canto, and then I read like State of Wonder, and then I like jumped back to one of her really early books. And I was just like, I can't do this. I don't like this. But all of her new everything like after 20 2001, I've mostly enjoyed. Her earlier stuff, just not for me. But that doesn't mean they're not for you. So, yeah, I don't know if that actually answered your question. Um, yeah, I mean, you can just say thank you via the internet. I appreciate every single comment. Like, people leave such kind comments on my videos, and I appreciate them so much. I have a little folder on my Google Drive where I've screenshot um, like really nice comments and stuff that people have left me, and it genuinely does mean a lot to me. And you should do VidCon again. I don't think BookTube has like VidCon tables anymore, and also I have no interest in going back to VidCon. VidCon is not a place for me. Like I went one time when I was asked to be on the BookTube panel, and it was really fun. It was a really great experience, and I'm really glad that I did it. But like, that's like not my crowd. Like, I'm not aspiring to make YouTube my job, or anything along those lines. Um, and so it was really cool to do, but like VidCon's not my crowd. Have I always been a reader from a young age? What got me into reading? Yes, I've always been a reader. I like to say that I got into reading, or I got as into reading as I did because I didn't have friends growing up, which is slight hyperbole, but like genuinely, I would just sit inside all day and want to read. Like I've always been, I guess, a curious kid. We always had like random books sitting around the house. I used to like read the encyclopedia when I was a little kid because I was bored. Like that's what I did for fun. So we didn't have cable, so that's what I did. Um, so yeah, always been into reading. Always read lots and lots of books. Also, hi, hello to everyone who has been joining in. And thank you to everyone who's saying congratulations and whatnot. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Um, but has anyone been watching anything interesting lately? My latest, not latest obsession, but the only TV show that I'm keeping up with right now, besides the fact that Abbott Elementary is currently on a break. I very much kept up with Abbott Elementary, while it was, on the air, but now the season's done, is Taskmaster. That's the only TV show I watch consistently right now. It's a British, comedy panel show, I think is how you categorize it. I talk about it all the time with people, and no one has no idea what I'm talking about. Um, or I should say, like, real life people, like my friends in real life, and they're all just like, "What are you talking about?" But I highly recommend it if you're the type of person who's into British panel shows. So, um, have I ever been to India? Yes, a couple times. I haven't been in a very long time now. Like the last time I went was when I was in college. I might have been like 20, so it's been like 12 years. How old am I? No, it's been more than that. 15 years? I don't know how old I am. Yeah, so that was the last time I went, but we used to go like every 4 to 5 years when I was a kid. So, yeah, we would mostly visit family, but there have been a couple of times where we would travel a little bit because I also have family in Mumbai and Delhi. So, I got to see like Taj Mahal and things like that, but most of the time we would just be with family. Alex Horn is the most adorable man ever. He is very adorable, and it's very funny. Like, my favorite thing in the world is when he starts laughing, like, during a task or anything like that. I don't know if you specifically are watching this current season, but I am cracking up. Like, Judy is the funniest person in the world to me, and, like, her just, like, obliviousness lately. Um Or just, like, the comments she makes, she's just so funny. She's just so funny. Am I gonna go see the new Downton Abbey? No, I never finished Downton Abbey. I am really bad at finishing TV shows. Like I said, I don't watch a lot of TV. And so to get me to finish an entire series is quite the feat, unless you're only, like, a 3 series or 3-season thing. So I think I watched, like, 2 seasons of Downton Abbey, and then it got a little too dramatic for me. Um, and I'm bad at keeping up with anything that's on PBS. Because I also started watching, like, relatively recently, All Creatures Great and Small. Is that what it's called? The one that follows the veterinarian, and that's great, like, little comfort TV. I wanna watch the 2nd season, but it's all, like, behind the paywall, and I was like, "At some point in time, I will pay PBS to be able to watch these episodes," but I haven't, done it now. Hi, Erica. You always comment on my videos, so I recognize your little icon. Congrats on 10 years. You look so happy these days. Thank you. Where do you get your cute bookish sweaters and shirts? It depends. A lot of them are from bookstores. Um, so that's like 90% of it, I would say, is from bookstores. I get a couple from out of print. Um, like the website out of print, like some of the like specific ones. Um, and trying to think if there's anywhere else. I think that's it. Like I tend to usually like it honestly like most of the time when I'm buying it, it's because it's a merch from a bookstore. So that's usually where I get my bookish stuff from. I've been watching old TGIF Sabrina the Teenage Witch. How does that hold up? I'm genuinely curious because I'm like with like things from like the 90s. Um, I'm always genuinely scared about how they hold up. So please comment about how Sabrina the Teenage Witch is and how it holds up these days. Erica's watching Station 11. How is it? Please tell me. I am curious about it. I want to do a Emily St. John Mandel reread because her new book, Sea of Tranquility, is apparently like interconnected or relates to Station 11 and the Glass Hotel. And so I'm the type of person who has a really hard time remembering details from books. And so I want to like reread those in order to catch everything that's happening in Sea of Tranquility. But also, I've heard really good things about the Station 11 TV show. So I think rereading the book would also help with that. So, yeah. Did you and Katie ever get a chance to meet in person? No, unfortunately. And yes, I do miss her. We have each other's like phone numbers and things like that. So we text, we have, or I should say, we have texted on occasion. I'm not going to pretend like we're texting each other constantly. Um, but yes, I do miss her. It was really fun doing Red or Dead, but like time wise, like it's a lot of work. And also I just feel like lately, like, having the freedom to just read whatever I want whenever I want, um, I really needed that, to be honest, so yeah. I'm not alone in watching Taskmaster, and yes, I honestly think that this season or series, say it the British way, I suppose, is like one of the best like combinations of folks that they've had in a really long time. I think also like during the pandemic and all that stuff, they've had to make adjustments obviously to the way they've done tasks and even the in-person recordings and stuff like that. And so I think like this has felt like the first season in a while uh where like the whole crew is like into it and all this stuff. And so, yeah. Do you see your reading genres or habits change with the seasons? Any books you've been waiting to read in the summer? A little bit. I tend to, do I? Honestly, this is a really good question that I've never like officially tracked. So this is like mostly based on like what I think I do. Um, I tend to enjoy reading like bigger books and reading more slowly in the summertime. I think this is like, and I don't know if I'm doing that because I used to do it or if I've just like, I know that. And so I plan for bigger books over the summers. But basically, like when I was in college, um, I wouldn't have time to read up like big chunky books during the school year because of school. And so I like would pick those up over the summers. And I've kind of continued that like intentionally and not sometimes. Um, and yeah, so I've noticed that. But I don't know. I'm like such a like mood like variety reader. Like I can't read too much of one genre at any time. So it doesn't feel like my reading is very seasonal. Like I really do feel like I rotate through every genre as I'm going through books, but it also is like highly influenced by like what are the new releases that are getting me excited and things like that. So I don't know if I necessarily feel like my reading is very seasonal. I can tell like the amount of reading that I do is seasonal. Like I read significantly more when it's colder out. I read a lot less in like this summertime and stuff like that. Um, so in that way, my like reading habits are seasonal. And any books you've been waiting to read in the summer? Um, do I have anything I've been waiting till the summer to read? Not really. Outside of the fact that I have all these books out from the library that I need to read this summer, so maybe that. Do I have any comics or graphic novel recs? It depends. I read some, I don't read a lot. I'm not, like, the number one person to go to for comics and graphic novels. Um, but the ones that I've really enjoyed, Good Talk by Mira Jacob, great graphic memoir. The March graphic novel series, if you haven't read that yet. Obviously, Ms. Marvel. Oh my gosh, Ms. Marvel. That's going to be a show adaptation that I am 100% going to keep up with live. I'm so excited for Ms. Marvel. It's coming out on Disney Plus in June. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Um, Persepolis is really fantastic by Marjane Satrapi. These are all graphic memoirs. Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley is really, really good. I really enjoyed that. Check Please. I have volume two sitting under a pile of books over here. That one is a comic about someone who does hockey and also bakes pies, and it's just very sweet and cozy. Aya, Life in Yap City. That one is, I think, a little bit underrated that you might not have heard of. Um, Highly recommend that too. Um, I mainly watch cooking shows. I'm watching MasterChef now. MasterChef is fantastic. My partner and I have been watching Final Table on Netflix, which is not new, but I think he like found it, and we're both like obsessed with it. So like basically, um, there's like chefs from around the world, and then like each episode has a different like country theme. So it's very like Western focused. So it's like they do France and Italy and England, the United States. But they did do some other countries. Like they do have a Japan episode. They have um, an India episode. I think they had a Mexico episode. But anyways, we have the finale left. So that has been a cooking show that we watch. Okay. Bethany reports that the Sabrina show holds up. Also, I'm catching up on comments, so I apologize. It's taking me a little bit to get through them because I talk too much. But I suppose that's the point of this. I live in Chicago, and if you do a meetup, I'm coming. That's very sweet. Thank you. Are you doing more Netflix than reading? I'm in a reading slump. No, I've actually been doing quite a lot of reading lately. Well, relatively, not a lot, but I made up a rule for myself that I'm only allowed to watch one episode of a TV show a day. Um, and so I usually watch it while I'm eating dinner. And then I'll like at least I should say that's my rule for the weekdays, in an attempt to try to read more during the weekdays. But honestly, what I watch the most is Twitch streams. I love watching people play Stardew Valley. It's so comforting and lovely, and I have it on my computer too. But I don't play a lot of games, like video games. But I love watching other people play Stardew Valley. So there's like 3 or 4 different people I'm watching currently, maybe more, that I follow on Twitch who play Stardew Valley, and I just, like, sit and watch them. I can do it for hours at a time. I'm looking forward to Time Traveler's Wife. Yes, the trailer for that looked really, really good. I read that book a long, long time ago, so I'm not gonna be able to do a proper comparison to it or of it to the book, but, like, the trailer that came out for it looked really good. The other show I really wanna watch, I think it's done. I actually don't know if the season's fully done yet, but Pachinko looked really good. If anyone has watched Pachinko, I think it was on Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus, whatever it's called. Um, that was one where the trailer looked fantastic, and I need to do like a pay for a month and just watch marathon the entire series in one go. I never comment on your videos, but you really helped me navigate and organize my reading list. Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Um, I may Oh, interesting. You may have enjoyed this show better than the book. Interesting. Oh, that makes me really intrigued now. Now I definitely wanna watch it. Okay. Um, I okay. I know you like going to bookstores when you travel. I do this too. Do you have a favorite bookish city or state or country that you travel to? Um, I mean, obviously New York is fantastic because there's so many different options there. I really like New Orleans. I think I didn't ex like, I don't usually know too much about different cities, before um, like, go to them. Sorry, I was just thinking about how what exactly I'm saying in the sentence. I'm a little bit tired. Yeah, I don't usually know, like, a lot about cities before I travel to them, and so I'm, like, doing my research as I'm heading to them, and so I didn't think of New Orleans as being, like, a city to expect, like, lots of different bookstores in, but I went to, like, 3, and I know they've opened more, since then, and New Orleans was really fantastic. I mean, New Orleans in general, my trip there was fantastic. Like, the food was great, but also the bookstores are really, really good. So, um, yeah, that's one that I think is like a little bit underrated. Um, that has like really fantastic bookstores. So, highly recommend it. Um, and then, I mean, London is fantastic too. Like, London is probably top tier in terms of the ones that I've been to because all of their bookstores are so good. They all have very different vibes to them. So there's like depending on what you like in your bookstores, I feel like London has one for you. So many of them are so beautiful. Uh, even like their chains, like Waterstones and stuff like that, are still fantastic. Ugh, loved London. Love their bookstores. How old am I? I'm 35, I think. There comes a point in your life where you just stop paying attention to how old you are and you just know approximately, like, I'm in my mid-30s. And is it cheating if I prefer audio, over physical books? No, definitely not. Audiobooks 100% count as reading books. Um, yeah. So definitely feel free to utilize audiobooks. I've actually been picking up a lot more audiobooks lately. Usually, um, I don't listen to audiobooks on a regular basis because I feel weird just like sitting and listening to a book if I don't have the physical book in front of me. And so I like to be like doing things. So before like going on long walks, I would sometimes listen to audiobooks. But now that I'm back at work and like some of the work that I'm doing at my job allows me to listen to audiobooks or listen to something while I'm working. And so I've actually gotten through like a couple of audiobooks now that we are doing a hybrid situation at work. Because when I'm at home, I don't feel the need to listen to audiobooks. I can, put on the TV or like a Twitch stream or something like that. But when I'm in the office, I will listen to audiobooks, which is nice. I love this book, Station 11, but I DNF the show. Interesting. See, yeah, I've heard very varying opinions on Station 11, the TV show. So that's why I think it's very interesting that Erica said that she liked it more than the book. Very interesting. I'm still hoping for an adaptation of Bluebird, Bluebird, or Highway 59. I feel like Bluebird got picked up as an adaptation, like the rights got picked up, and I don't know if anything actually came of that though. But yeah, I feel like that would be really good too because Attica Locke also works as a screenwriter. Like she was a screenwriter on, I think, Scandal. I want to say something like that. Um, but yes, if that became a TV show, it would be so good. I 100% agree with you there. I've been looking for a while and love your content. Thank you. I especially like your approach to quarterly goals instead of yearly goals. So much better to break things down. Yeah, I'm like convinced that everyone's doing goals and resolutions wrong because doing like annual like New Year's resolutions, in my opinion, um, well, okay, let me break it down like this. I think it's fine to do annual goals, but I think that unless you have like quarterly check ins or somewhat regular check ins, it feels really difficult to remember and maintain those goals. But I also think that, um, I don't know, so much happens over the course of a year that like it's really hard to say January 1st that like this is definitely a thing that you want to work on. I mean, I understand like the idea of like, oh, I want to like get healthier this year. But then also like what does that mean? And like setting up quarterly goals just feels, I don't know, it just feels smarter not to, plan the acronym of SMART goals, but like I don't know. At least for me, I can't maintain that sort of momentum all year long. So doing quarterly goals is like is like a nice sort of checkpoint of like reviewing your goals, seeing if those things actually matter to you anymore, if you need to make any adjustments, things like that. So yeah. Beignet and books are a great reason to go to New Orleans, but honestly, I think every single item of food that I had in New Orleans was good. Like, I don't know if New Orleans is capable of doing bad food. I'm sure that they are. But I'm sure somewhere in New Orleans you can get bad food, but my friends and I didn't find any of it. It was Empire, yes. Attica Locke wrote on Empire, so she has the experience, writing for TV, so hopefully one of her books can get picked up for TV. Um, I probably won't do this because I'm mainly doing this with the Chunky Chapter Book Club, which is my Patreon book club that I run. Quick plug here. If you want to check that out, links are always in the description. No obligation, but um, we read one chunky book every other month, trying to keep it reasonable. And then at the end of that month or the beginning of like the next month, we I do a live show with my patrons. And so yeah, if you're interested, you can check it out. It costs $1. I kept the membership, whatever costs for it extremely low in order to keep it as accessible as possible to people because I don't like love the idea of like charging people money. Like I don't like desperately need money or anything like that. Like I don't use YouTube as a main source of income. It's just like a nice little side thing. But I do like having it as a Patreon for a couple of different reasons. One, it holds me accountable because if people are paying me money, I better like do the work. And two, I think it helps keep everyone else accountable. So like if you guys are paying money for this service, hopefully you guys will read the books along with me and participate in things like that. So we're currently reading Jade City. Jade City is the May pick. And so we will have a live show for this in the beginning of June. Haven't no like set date yet. I usually set it relatively close to when we've wrapped everything up. So that way, like I do a little poll to see like when people are available. So that way, as many people can join in as possible. Um, so yeah, it's listed as a possibility in IMDb. No, nothing on production status. I mean, I think it was picked up like pre the world blowing up. And so I'm sure there's lots of projects that have been like delayed or um, like put on the back burner and things like that, unfortunately. And like, who knows, like money wise and all this other stuff, like whether or not um, that like messed up all of these different shows and movies and whatnot. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. Also, sorry, I'm going back to this comment. I'm very interested to see more people talk about this book. I think I've seen one I'm going to be completely honest. It's not like I'm like great at keeping up with everyone's videos, but I haven't I want more people's comments on this book cuz I'm very intrigued by it. Like I read some fantasy but not a lot of fantasy, and so I'm very intrigued by this book because it's like based on Hindu mythology, I believe. I could be misspeaking. Um, but yeah, I'm just curious about it. So also it's currently like 90 degrees in Chicago. Well, it might have gone down now. It's 86 degrees according to my phone. And so I'm getting very warm sitting here. Also, you could have, because of the way I was sitting, you could just see the mess that I was trying to strategically hide behind me. So there's that. It's being compared to Cersei. I think I saw someone else say that, and part of me was wondering whether or not this book was being compared to Cersei just because it's based on mythology, or if it actually is like Cersei, or like, that it's like, some sort of like female or feminist retelling sort of situation, or what, or if they're just using Cersei because it was a recent best-selling mythology retelling sort of book. Um, So yes, please, genuinely, I mean this, like, please leave a comment on whatever video is up, whenever you finish that book, because I would be very intrigued to see what people think of it. Jade City is amazing. The second one is even better. Still need to read the final one, but waiting for the paperback to come out this fall. Yeah, uh, I said this earlier in the stream when I first talked about Jade City. I'm very behind. But I was very nervous picking that book up because it's urban fantasy and I don't read a lot of urban fantasy. Like usually the stuff that I read is historical based fantasies. Um, and I had checked out the ebook from the library like a year ago or something like that. And I ended up not finishing it because it was like due back at the library. And I was like, I didn't have time to read it and stuff like that. And I was like having a hard time getting into it. And so when it was picked as the book club pick, I mean, I was excited to give it a try with other people, but I was also really nervous. I was like, oh gosh, what if I end up hating this book because I can't like get into the writing style or whatnot. But I'm really enjoying it so far. But I'm like not even a quarter of the way through the book. I think I have some serious catching up to do. Again, if there's anyone on here that's a patron, I'm so sorry I'm behind. I feel like that's going to just be the story of my Patreon life. I'm always going to be behind on the book club reads, but I'll have it done by the end of the month, I promise. Um, But yeah, I've been, like, thinking about it. I'm like, if I end up liking Jade City, I'm like, how quickly do I wanna pick up the sequels, the 2nd and 3rd books, in the series? And then the other question is, like, do I wanna read it with patrons? Because maybe I'll make it like a bonus book or something that I read along or something. I don't know. If you're a patron and you're in here, feel free to comment, if you have any other ideas. So, oh, no. No, you are not, sir. I don't know if you can see. This pile of books right here is all from the library. I have a stack over here that's from the library. I have another book I'm currently reading, uh, the Elif Shafak book, also from the library, 14-Day Loan right there. Um, yeah, no, I love the library. The library's fantastic. Or I should say, my library is fantastic. I recognize not everyone has the funding uh, for their public libraries, and so therefore they don't get to have this wonderful experience. But I love the library. I'm constantly like telling my friends, like, "Hey, have you downloaded the Libby app or the Hoopla app? They're really great." um, so I rarely buy a book. That's great. Applaud you and your self control. I clearly do not have that. Which way is this going? This way. I clearly don't have that self control. I'm getting so much better at using my library though, and um, like just buying books afterwards if I ended up really liking them. So that's basically what I'm trying to do now. Obviously, like this is my physical TBR right here. These are all of my unread books. So um, I'm not 100% great at it, but I do enjoy it. Have you ever read The Hunger Games? Is a good recommendation. I love the Hunger Games books. I think they still hold up too. Some young adult books don't hold up as much, although it has been a while since I read them. But yeah, I think I read them when they originally came out. And I think they're universal. Like I know, well, if you like dystopian books, I should say. And obviously they're not perfect, but I do think they're really, really fun. But I also really like um books that feature, like, competitions and things like that, so something like the Hunger Games really appeals to me. There's one Percy Jackson book that's, like, basically a big competition, and I love that. Um, Goblet of Fire is my favorite Harry Potter book, so, like, anything along those lines where it's just, like, the fantasy book series I talked about earlier, Three Dark Crowns is basically a competition book. So yeah, that's like a trope or genre or idea that I really enjoyed. I tried Jade City, but the urban fantasy vibe wasn't working for me, so I DNF'd it. Yeah, I think that's what was happening for me too. But because we're reading for a book club, I like really sat down with it and really got into it. And right now it's working for me. Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstances is the only one I've liked of this genre. Interesting. I've heard mostly good, but still mixed things about Beasts of Extraordinary Circumstances. So I've had that one on my radar to check out eventually. I started Two Girls Down today on your recommendation. Yay! Wasn't there someone you said to picturing Cap? Yes. I kept picturing Keith Mars from Veronica Mars. I don't remember what the actor's name is, Enrico something or another. But if you ever watched the TV show Veronica Mars, I kept picturing the dad from that show as Cap. It's a completely like inaccurate based on like physical descriptions, but like the way he like vibes, like his vibe reminded me of Keith Mars. So yeah. How do you feel about Access 360? I think my library used to have it, but I never used it. Let me look really quick. I feel like our library got rid of it though. Yeah, our library got rid of it, so I don't have access to it. But I think that's another loan service, right? Like library loan service, but I love the Libby app. Frequently use it to borrow audiobooks. Yeah, honestly, my library doesn't get a lot of like, or there's high demand for audiobooks through the Libby app. So I will use it, when I can, but Hoopla is usually my go-to because those are instantly available. Although obviously, like Hoopla has less books on there, or I should say, less popular books or less books that I personally am interested in. Um, and um, yeah, so I use it more for ebooks than audiobooks, but I do use it for audiobooks as well. Do I buy cookbooks? No. I almost never buy cookbooks. I'm really bad at cooking with physical books. I have one cookbook that a friend bought me where it's like a cookbook based on books. I'm gonna grab it because it's sitting right there. Hold on one second. This. So a friend bought this for me a couple of years ago, and it's the Little Library Cookbook. So 100 recipes from your favorite books. So it has lots of different recipes in here. You're not going to be able to see any of this, but it has recipes in here from Secret Garden, Paddington, Norwegian Wood, the Bell Jar, Franny and Zoe, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, um, Middlesex, The Great Gatsby, things like that. So I feel like this is a really great book. It's broken up into like types of food. So like it says parties and celebrations, Christmas, midnight eats. It said before noon, lunch, the dinner table, and the photos are obviously fantastic. I cooked anything out of here? No, I have not. But it looks great. So here's let's see. I'm gonna try to find like it teaches you how to make a Neapolitan pizza, and it bases it on My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. So I like this a lot. It's really beautiful. And there's some really interesting recipes in here because like I feel like a lot of times with like things based on books, it usually only sticks to the classics or like kids books. And this one doesn't. Like it has lots of different genres and stuff and like age ranges of books and things like that. So this is honestly I just keep this because it's beautiful and I really like it a lot. But that's one. That's the one cookbook I have. I enjoy cooking. But I get all my recipes from the internet, like the millennial that I am. So I'm actually not part of Chicago Public Library. So this is library system. I don't live in the city itself, so I cannot tell you how many borrows you get on Hoopla. But I think I personally right now get like 12 from my local library. I live in the suburbs, so um, yeah, they like upped all of the like digital loan amounts during the pandemic because everyone was sitting at home, and so there's that. Um, and people needed more like loan checkouts and things like that, and so they've like kept the increased amounts, which I very much appreciate. I hate cooking, but I need that cookbook. Honestly, it's a great gift. It's just like a good coffee table book and things like that, and I think like anyone can pick up that book and find like a recipe or a book that they would be interested in checking out. You should read Dreams Beyond the Shore by Tamika Gibson. I've never even heard of that book. Dreams Beyond the Shore. Tamika Wilson. Okay. I currently have it open as a tab in Goodreads, so thank you for the recommendation. It only has 37 ratings and 19 reviews. Talk about your underrated books. Have you checked out the Skokie Library? I have, but a long time ago. I have friends who lived in Skokie, and so I have been there like once or twice when I was in like high school, so it's been a long, long time ago. My Chicagoland library doubled our loan amounts in 2020. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I think ours was about the same, or like it just increased at least a decent amount. Especially like for me, for I was the most excited, I think, to be able to put more things on hold on Libby. Um, and uh, because I feel like there's just so many books that I always want to read, but I need to put holds on them in order to get to them because other people have them on hold and whatnot or have them checked out. So when they increased our hold amount, I was so excited. That would be a fun cookbook for a book club. That is true. That's a really good point. I honestly have been thinking about like doing like a cookbook cooking series for like years now. I don't know if any of you watch or used to watch Rosanna House Rojas. Um, she did a series for a little bit where she would get a cookbook and then like cook a few recipes out of that cookbook and like kind of vlog it, but kind of not. And then like post like one video after like doing a few recipes from the cookbook. And I loved her videos where she was doing that. And so I always loved that idea of like getting a cookbook and then like recording myself um, cooking through a few of the recipes. Um, but I was like, I'm literally just copying her, which is fine. Um, but also like recording yourself while cooking is really difficult, and I don't know if I have that effort. I think another fun thing to do would be to use yeah, to basically do what you said is, like, read the book and cook a recipe from it and do a video like that, where I, like I mean, because I feel like the recipes I'm pulled to the most are from books I've already read, but just, like, I can make it, a series that takes me years to go through is just, like, going through all of the different recipes in here and then, like, read the book and talk about it or something like that. I don't know. Okay. What is a cookbook reading group, Linda? I'm gonna need you to explain. Like, are you a group that reads cookbooks? Are you a group that cooks together and reads books together? You go through cookbooks and like non-cookbook books? I would like to know more details on what a cookbook reading group is, because that sounds fun. But yeah, I really enjoy cooking a lot. So I feel like doing some sort of like cooking related something or another video thing has always intrigued me. Like I have a couple of videos on my channel that I used to do during Vlogmas. Um where I had like there were a couple of years I did Vlogmas, and I think in almost all of them I have like one cooking video in there. I know I have one uh doing like chocolate chip cookies from Relish, Lucy Knisley's graphic memoir. And then I did like a general one doing like these cranberry puff things during Vlogmas um, and stuff like that. And yes, Wendy. Cooking videos need a lot of editing. Yes. I mean, it's not just the editing. I feel like I can handle the editing. It's the recording part, like being the only person and trying to like make sure you have like the correct angles and the correct setup and the correct lighting to be able to capture like what's happening while you're cooking, but also like be engaged with the camera and stuff like that. Like it's a lot. It's hard to do. So maybe in the future, I'll be able to do it, but not right now, at least. I feel like I also need, like, a better setup because, like, I don't have a great tripod or anything like that for my camera, and, like, I don't have a proper microphone. Right now for my YouTube videos, like, my main YouTube videos, I use, like, my phone as, like, my external mic, and I just sync the audio, so it's hard to do good cooking videos. Um, there are 7 of us, and we each bring a cookbook. Oh, interesting. That's fun. Lauren in the Books does lots of vlogs involving cookbooks. Yeah, so I've also seen that as well. A lot of the cookbooks that she cooks from are UK based, which obviously makes sense because she's based in the UK. And so sometimes when people are talking about recipes that are like not based in the United States, I'm just like, I don't know what 100 grams of flour means. And like, obviously, you can look it up, but I enjoy like watching the videos. Um, and so yeah, they're fun. They're really fun, and, like, when people do them well, I really enjoy watching them, but recording them is a lot of work. We discussed the recipes, any problems we had with it, and if there was trouble grading the ingredients. Oh, that's fun. So do you guys, like, all make the same Oh, well, I guess it depends on you can try different things in the book and see how accessible it is. That's really fun. That's actually a really good idea for a book club. I don't know if you came up with it, if it was already an established thing, but that's really fun. I've seen 2 people struggle with recording cooking videos, so impressed you've done it yourself. Yeah, it's not it's not easy. I don't know how good they are, like, quality-wise, it's a little bit shaky, um, but I did my best. I gave it a shot. So yeah. Um, I love your foodie blogs as videos. Those cranberry brie bites are so good. It's, like, the best. I don't I could probably find it myself. I was like, "How do I find this video and share it with you all right now?" I was gonna be like, "Go look up my cranberry brie bites," but I don't know. Uh, there we go. I'm gonna put the link in chat. Um, Give me 1 second. You can go, judge the quality of this video yourself, when you watch it later. Um But, like, this is the easiest recipe, and it's, like, great for the holidays when you have to, like, do, like, a potluck or something like that. Um, they're so simple, but they're so delicious. Like, I wanna eat them all the time. Thank you, and hi. There's, like, more people here now, and I didn't say hello, so hello to everyone who's joining in. I'm just chatting and answering questions, so if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, but thank you, Doctor I Dare You, and everyone else who said congratulations over the course of the live stream and for checking it out. Um, I did this little spiel at the beginning, but I'll do it again now that there's more people. I've been doing YouTube for 10 years. That's wild. And I am very, very grateful to anyone and everyone who has ever watched one of my videos, um, who has liked, commented, subscribed, etc., done all the other wonderful things for the algorithm for people to be able to find me. And yeah, it's wild to think about that I've been doing this for so long. There's a cooking channel that a guy wears a GoPro on his head while he's prepping cooking, and it's fun to watch. Oh yes, I used to read Kenji Lopez was on a few different food blogs or does like writes for a few different food blogs. And so I'd seen his videos on YouTube as well. They are fun. Um, it also feels like very chaotic sometimes. And so yeah, they can be really fun. I can't pick a favorite book of all time, fiction, nonfiction. Someone earlier asked me my favorites out of like the past 10 years, and there's no way I can pick a favorite. I love all of them. That's like asking me to pick a favorite child. I found your channel in May 2020. I've been so grateful for your book recs. Oh, thank you. They've expanded my world so much. I appreciate that so much. Genuinely, genuinely. I know people just say that. And I mean, I'm sure most people mean it, but like genuinely, I really mean it when I say that it means a lot to me that people pick up the books that I talk about and enjoy them as well. What is your relationship to poetry? Are there any poets you love slash would recommend? I don't read a lot of poetry, to be completely honest. Like poetry books, I should say. What I do like doing is following poetry Instagram accounts and then reading sort of like one-off poetry. Like I'm really bad at sitting down and reading an entire poetry collection. That's probably like my biggest blind spot when it comes to reading, that and like plays. Um, but I really enjoy reading poetry. I don't know, it requires like a different sort of expectation that I usually don't do when it comes to like physical books. So that's why I like really like following Instagram. Like I think I follow like the Poetry Foundation, and the specific one I follow that posts a lot. Hold on. Is what is this called? Poetry is not a luxury. Is the Instagram account. They post a lot of poetry every single day. And I'll just like read through those when they come through my feed and really enjoy them. And so, yeah, like I enjoy reading poetry. I especially like reading like when poetry is being read to me. That's also really fantastic. Um, and yeah, but I don't have like specific poets that I always go to or anything along those lines, unfortunately. Do I like Edith Wharton? Yes. I should say I've only read one book by Edith Wharton. I've read, Wharton. I'm having a hard time saying her name. I read The Age of Innocence a few years ago. I think there's a video on my channel about it, possibly. It's been 10 years, it's been a while. But yes, that's the only one I've read by her, but I really enjoyed it, and I've been reading meaning to read more from her. So, yeah, I'll probably go for, like, another 10 or 15 minutes. It's getting very warm in my room because it's very hot outside and all of the heat is rising and things like that. And you need to like open my door to get the air circulating and whatnot. I'll probably go for like another 10 or 15 minutes before I wrap it up. So if anyone has any last minute questions or anything along those lines that they want to get in before I wrap it up, thanks everyone. I'll say an early thank you while people are still around. Um, and for coming and hanging out with me tonight. This was very impromptu. I said this at the beginning of the live stream, but I had like an idea in my head for like what I wanted to do for this week, and I just didn't have the time slash energy to pull it off. So we'll see if it happens. Basically, I wanted to try to read through like my favorite books um, from like the past 10 years of doing booktube. But then I realized that one, it would be more than 10 books because um, there are certain years where I don't have just one favorite. And two, it takes me more than a month to read 10 books typically. So I was having a hard time figuring out when that was gonna happen, how that was gonna happen, all this stuff, without, like, also giving it away in my, like, monthly wrap-ups. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm sitting on that idea and I still wanna do it, uh, but I'm not sure how or when or whatever it'll take place. Have you mentioned favorite authors? No. I I feel like there's very not I shouldn't say there are very few people that I consider a favorite author, but I feel like it takes a while. Like I have to read few books from an author and really enjoy a lot of them before I consider them a favorite author. However, the problem with that is that I very rarely read a lot of books from an author. Someone who like tends to go like wide and not deep with my reading. So I won't. I'm really bad at like um yeah, just reading a lot of an author's catalog. So ones off the top of my head that I can think of, Jhumpa Lahiri, Toni Morrison, Anne Patchett, Tana French. Um, there's probably others. Jesmyn Ward. Um, yeah, those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Um, yeah, I'm really bad at remembering to go like deep with like an author's backlist and stuff like that. So there's just so many wonderful books coming out all the time. So yeah. Um, thank you for having a live stream. I always enjoy watching you speak live. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just feel like I'm rambly. I had seen an event you did online in the Chicagoland area. Yeah, I did a thing with the Arlington Heights Library in January. That was a lot of fun. And lots of different people I know came out for that, which was fantastic. So yeah, thank you. I genuinely feel like I just ramble when I'm doing live shows, so I appreciate this comment. But yeah, I'll probably wrap things up soon because again, getting a little tired. What are a few of your ooh, this is probably a good uh one to end on. Ones that I'm really excited to read still. I will admit, like I have no idea what's coming out in the second half of the year. I haven't looked into it at all. Um, and so I'm kind of just like taking things as they come. I've like kind of worked on like trying not to pay too close attention to new releases or paying attention to like books that are coming out far in advance because I want to like also make sure I'm reading the books that I already have like on my stack. With all that being said, I have a couple of books that I've checked out from the library right now. The first one is The Golden State. Um, is it The Golden State? Hold on. I'm looking it up to make sure that I say this correctly. The other one that I'm really looking forward to is the new Rebecca Rowan Horse book. That's the follow up to Black Sun because I loved Black Sun so much. And so I'm really looking forward to picking up that book. I have it on hold from the library. Um, this Golden State. That's the name of the book. It's by Marie Weisenberg, and it's a young adult book, mystery that follows this family that basically, you're following this girl named Poppy who's part of this family that like has these rules of like no one can know your real name. You don't stay in one place for too long. If anything, if you sense anything's wrong, go to the meeting spot. um, keep keeping our family together is everything, and we wish we could tell you who you are, but we can't, and please don't ask. And so Poppy just knows that like her family has something going on, but she doesn't know what. And so in order to figure out what happens, she ends up taking a DNA test. And then everything blows up. So I'm really excited to see how that one turns out. The other one that I have checked out from the library right now is um, The Chosen One by Echo Brown. This one is a young adult coming of age story about a first generation Black student at Dartmouth. So I'm excited about that. Portrait of a Thief recently came out, and I have that one checked out as an ebook. That one is another like mystery suspense thriller that's like a heist story, but it follows like um, basically like there's this guy Will Chen who um, is at Harvard, and um, basically this like Chinese corporation reaches out to him about stealing um, Chinese art that has been like taken, over the course of like colonization and things like that. And so it becomes like this big like heist thing. So it kind of has this like Ocean's 11 feel to it. Very much looking forward to it. So, ooh, this is a good question. If you were stranded on a desert island and could only have 5 books with you, would you rather have 5 books you know and love or 5 books you have never read before? Oh, okay. First, I'm just going to say I want everyone to answer in the little chat what your preference is. This is really difficult because I'm someone who never rereads books. However, in this situation, I might choose 5 books you know and love, like 5 books I know and love, because I want that guarantee that if these are five only 5 books I have access to, I want them to be good books. So I think I would rather go for 5 books you know and love over the 5 books you've never read before. Because like what if you hate one of those books or all of the books? You don't know. Everyone has their like moments where um You go through a slump and the next 5 books you pick up are all ones that you, hate or just don't get along with or whatnot. So, yeah, I feel like that's just knowing that you will not have access to books again, means I feel like you have to go with the 5 you know and love. Yeah, I feel like everyone's kind of on the same page on that one. Because yeah, I don't think you want to be rolling the dice when you're stranded on these like stranded on a deserted island situations. You need to go for like your tried and trues choices. So yeah, that's a fun question. Thank you for asking that, Bethany. I appreciate it. Oh, interesting. Okay. I'm gonna need you to explain why you want to go for the ones you haven't read before. Because I feel like you're taking a big risk. Maybe you're a big risk taker, I don't know. This is a great point, unless the unread books hold the key to survival or something, that's an important detail. Um, like, are your 5 books, like, survivalist books that'll teach you how to, start a fire and, hunt things? Like, those skills that as a person who lives in the suburbs, I definitely don't have. Um Okay, Erica's also going for ones you haven't read, you don't like rereading. Like, I get that. Like, in my soul, I get that, but, like, what if you end up with 5 books that you hate? This is what I need y'all to answer because there's something always something to look forward to, but here's the thing, you won't always have something to look forward to. Like, you're gonna come to a point where you've read all 5 of those books, and so, at that point, you're gonna have to reread, and then what if those books that you ended up with, though, you don't like them all and you don't wanna reread them? You've lowered your pool of options. Obviously, this is not a real, like, situation all of us are gonna have to go through, but I'm just so intrigued by everyone who says that they want the ones that they haven't read before, because there's that you're rolling the dice. You're rolling the dice of getting something bad, and I don't want that when I'm on a deserted island, unless, like Jim Chick said, it has, like, survivalist books to teach me how to survive. But that was fun. I like that. That was a nice little way to end things. I can see more people are coming in with answers. Part of me wants 5 I know I'll love, but part of me is attracted to 5 chunky classics that I haven't read but probably will love. Ooh, see, that's the thing. Like, am I getting to pick the 5 books that I get to read? Because then, yeah, you could do something really interesting where you're like, I want to read um, War and Peace. I've always wanted to read War and Peace. You're on a deserted island. What else are you gonna do? You said the same thing. I'm gonna take the world's biggest books in that case. There's bound to be something useful in them. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you have like 5 um, general encyclopedias or something like that, maybe. But I like this idea of if you have the choice, like bringing really big, chunky books that like you've always wanted to read, or if you wanted to read like David Foster Wallace or something like that. Um, I feel like that would be like a book that requires a lot of time and effort and energy, but it's hard to create that and also probably would hold up on rereads. Like, if I could pick the 5 unread books, I think that's a different question. But if I can't and you're just, like, sort of rolling the dice about, like, these are potential books, that I want to read, then, I don't know. I don't know, but Searching for Starfish brought up a good point. Gotta say that. I guess if you hate it, you can just Oh, Erica. I mean, sure. Yeah, there's still usefulness to all books, or, kindling. I feel like that's probably smarter. like starting fires and whatnot, that would probably be better. But like, yep, I'm taking the 5 longest books I can get. Yeah, exactly. Like, get to all those big books. Get to War and Peace. Get to Anna Karenina. Get to Count of Monte Cristo. Those are all the big ones that I can think of. That would maybe some Charles Dickens or something like that. So, yeah. All right. It is 8:30, so I am going to head out so I can turn on the air conditioning and get some air circulating in my room and stop sweating a lot. But one last time, thank you to everyone for joining in tonight, hanging out with me on a Friday night. I appreciate it. It was a very last minute thing. And so, yeah, I'm really, really glad that some of you guys came to hang out. Thank you for all the questions and chatting with me. Um, thank you for joining me and watching my videos, whether it be for less than 1 year or the full 10 years. I don't know if there's anyone who's been watching me for the full 10 years, to be honest. But however much I appreciate all of the support, um, you guys are great. I like making videos because y'all leave wonderful comments and engage in interesting discussions and all that stuff. And, you make the experience of being on YouTube not terrible, which is rare. So thank you all so much. So yeah, thanks everyone and have a great evening. Bye.